Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Third Action. I am your host, Jason, and these are the same three resurrected Shunies from last week. In the bottom left, we have Asher Ford, Human Ranger, played by Charlotte.
Hi.
In the bottom center, we have Greshy Ironroot, Dwarven Druid, played by Will.
Also me, and Phelan. Don't forget Phelan.
And Adam, in the bottom right, playing Gunn, Shough, the still alive champion of Erastil.
Alive again?
Alive again, yes. True, I guess there was a gap. In any case, last time on Third Action, I don't know why I did that music. It's actually kind of calm. The party did a lot of stuff. You dealt with, well, I guess you finished up exploring the Hook Mountain stronghold that, I guess, the ogres had taken up residence in. You found out they were being led by one Barl Breakbones, a stone giant, with a retinue of strange companions on his side. You were not able to capture Lucretia, for it seems that she's already departed, made her way somewhere to some place of an unknown name. But you did find a little goblin named Mushy, who was enslaved to Barl and his crew, and overheard some of the ramblings, or not ramblings, some of the discussions that happened amidst his throne chamber, or like, yeah, I guess throne chamber is fine. From there, I skipped the part where you resurrected Gunn. You resurrected Gunn using the last of your, the only scroll of new life you had obtained from the Black Dragon's lair before the adventure began. Or I guess it was kind of before we streamed the adventure. But with Gunn revived and the body of Lamitar Baden in tow, as well as a shitload of stuff carted away from Hook Mountain, you returned to Fort Rannoch, where the Black Arrows were awaiting your return. You ended up returning their items to them, the things taken to Hook Mountain, many of which belong to the Black Arrows, living or dead. We discussed it offline. They've ended up keeping a vast majority of that stuff, both to give to current rangers and to help, as far as the valuables are concerned. A lot of it was used to, or will be used to, repair and rebuild the fort and try and do something about the dam, because you guys probably don't have a lot of time for that. While talking about future plans, someone, I think, brought up Sandpoint, and that triggered Mushy's memory that a raid would be happening on Sandpoint at some point in the near future. Surprised, shocked, and eager to do something about it, the party decided to make haste back to the place where the adventure began, well, I guess haste-ish. You decided to spend the night at the fortress because it was pretty late already. Shillelagh was sent on ahead to go recruit a ferry for your express use to return, basically make the return trip from Turtleback. And once you all awoke the next morning, you made your first thing straight away back to Turtleback. Took a couple hours to get there, then you immediately crossed over to the Shimmerglims, where you deposited the, or delivered, I guess, the body of Lamitar Baden to his lover, Miriana. Miriana, in her ghostly state, resurrected, or I guess reincarnated, Baden with the last of her life, teaching you the reincarnation ritual in the process, as well as blessing you with the last remnants of her life energy, which caused you all to undergo a dramatic change in your characters. As a result, each of you got to re-choose all of your class feats, as well as we're starting to use the free archetypes rule from the Game Mastery Guide for 2nd edition. So what this is every second level and every other level thereafter, you get a free archetype feat. It can be of any archetype as long as you qualify and you're still following the rules for archetypes. But it's a way to flesh out your characters a little bit more, give you a few more options, and bring your characters closer to the ideal of how you'd like to see them played. This didn't involve any changes of any other feats or any stats other than, basically just the class feats. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump in there. You guys are currently in the Shimmer Glens, basically waist deep in this water of the kind of pool of water surrounding the great white willow at the center of the Shimmer Glens, with this Shough body there in between all of you, floating. He kind of starts awake. Gorge, where? What? he
turns into a dog and suddenly becomes goofy.
I'm so upset.
I'm not gonna stick with that joke.
No, now you have to.
I don't know if I can do the voice.
Canon there. No, he's Dorsch.
All right. He kind of splashes a bit, startled at where he's ended up, and manages to rotate himself upward.
He doggy paddles a bit.
Yeah, is looking around at each of you. Where am I? But before you even respond, his eyes widen, and as if in realization. He's kind of looking around while you respond, I guess. Oh goodness, so many things in the chat.
What do you remember?
Last thing I remember, I was here. Well, no. I remember your face. He looks at you, Gunn. You said something to me. You brought me back.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we all brought you back together. We all brought you back here to the Shimmer Glens. And
Phelan carried you most of the way.
He looks over, if you gesture towards Phelan.
Mm-hmm.
Phelan, like, boof, from the shoreline. And as if you had called on him as well, Rock just kind of beside him.
Rock helped.
Sorry, I'm distracted slightly by all these chat redemptions. Okay, I think I got them up to date. Damn it, stop doing stuff, chat.
It's not chat so much as...
I know, it's... Anyway. Okay. Fuck.
Okay, he remembers waking up, being called back. Miriana's gone.
I was trying to save Miriana, but
she's at peace now.
Yes, I feel her. And he, like, presses a hand up to his heart, and there's, like, a soft glow.
Aww.
Oh. That's new.
She might be gone, but I can feel her presence within me.
That's good.
But he looks at his pawed hand. That's different. And he looks at the reflection in the water and kind of jumps a sec. Oh.
It's a strange sort of power brought you back.
It's weird, Gunn. You didn't turn into a dog.
I mean, it was a different spell, but...
That's true.
Another chance is another chance, huh?
If I could do a Donald Duck voice, I would jump in there, yeah.
And somebody's got to be Sora.
I knew her magic was strong, but I didn't think you would be able to bring someone like me back from the dead. I don't know if I'll ever be able to repay her this favor.
I don't know if
Hey.
you need to repay a favor. She did it out of love.
He smiles
Good
and
answer.
looks at you. You're right, but
Well,
I know she loved this place, Shimmerglens, more than anything. Even me.
take some time and think about what you want to do.
Well, maybe this place can be restored somehow. With
It is a bit
time.
kind of screwy right now.
It's a
The
little sad.
That's the way to put it.
the Black Arrows are safe. Fort Rannoch is safe.
That's good to hear. They certainly don't need me like this. After everything that happened. That woman told me that she was attacking the fortress. Did they?
They've been pushed
how'd they
back.
do? Are my
So it
men
was-
still alive?
Some of them.
A bunch, a handful, enough.
More than a handful, but they did take some casualties. Something like a couple dozen.
Oh, and
maybe?
all the birds are dead.
Not all.
Oh yeah. There's one bird.
One left.
Rock tweets from back over behind
Don't tell him
Phelan.
his parents are dead.
I see. Oh, I
Or
guess
he
I'm
dumped it at some point.
a bit of a failure as a commander.
Well, they seem to want you back. At least from what they've been acting when we've been there.
Yeah, the
They
men
want
did
us to look for you.
believe in you. I don't
He
think
starts
this
to
was
kind
your
of
fault.
trudge out of the water a bit.
Yes, we should get out of the water.
Suppose so.
I'm also.
I don't know.
gonna
I'm
get
starting to think
water.
we should just leave Asher in here.
No, I'm leaving the water. Out of it.
Angrily stops out of the water. Splash, splash, splash.
The top half of is his brown outfit, and the bottom half's like white and clean. That's not canon.
Avatar kind of is just as he's. I guess he does like a reflexive shake to get the water off, and then
So cute.
starts to check his armor. There's like a big gash in the center where Gunn stabbed him through the heart.
Sorry about that.
And he's kind of looking around. Were you able to get any of my other stuff? My bow?
Yeah.
Trying to get you all.
A few
I
things.
think we got it. Where is it?
Yep, we have.
Oh, it's like, who has it?
Oh, let's
Greshy will
go
trudge up to
through-
shore and start.
I think we have your bow and also some personal items. And I'll go through the bag and get out the jewelry box that belongs to him, and the locket, and I think there's a book of poetry as well.
Okay. Yeah, you pull those things out, and walk them over to him. And seeing them, his eyes immediately start to tear up. You really carried all those around for me?
Sorry, we had to go through your things to.
No, it's fine.
It's not the
Yeah,
worst
yeah.
poetry I've ever read.
You don't know how many nights I spent staying up thinking about Miriana. But I guess that was my downfall in the end.
Not really. It worked out, I think, as best circumstances could.
Greshy Dash is like,
Got the sideways look
you're
like,
like swapping looks in the back.
I mean,
Ash just looks to Greshy.
they clearly had something special.
That's true.
I wasn't going to deny that part. That was
If
not
We'll
really the
remain
expression I was making it
positive
for.
in the moment.
Mm,
if Lucretia hadn't come along, they would have been fine and probably been a great benefit to the area. Actually, having the relationship between the humans and the Fae.
It's probably true.
Perhaps.
She had a way of turning people against each other.
He's kind of sat down on the dirt now, and he's rifling through the poetry, just almost bawling at the memories that are just welling up inside. I don't think I can
awkward?
go back, he says, finally closing the jewelry case with all the stuff in it. I think my duty is here, he says, and kind of turns and looks back up at the great white willow.
I think that'll be fine. They seem to be ready to move on. Jakardros is
doing. Aye.
taking over, stepping up.
I always did think he'd be a good commander. If he's ever able to get over his moodiness.
He's a moody guy.
I'll look over at Asher.
Hi.
Anything to?
It
nothing to
always
say about
seemed
that?
like he was just looking for a place to die.
I think he's doing better now. He said he had a reason to go on. He's been more chipper these days.
That's good to hear,
Yeah.
he says, turning back to look at you.
But I guess we should at least tell him you're not coming back. They're expecting something, because we brought you down here.
So they know. And he kind of looks down a little bit.
We're gonna say keep it a secret, after all. I mean,
Didn't they see his corpse on the... They did see it, right? I'm not, like,
Aye.
making stuff
Yeah,
up.
no, you showed them.
Okay.
his corpse, yeah.
I was like,
Phelan.
he was
It wasn't
draped
secret.
over. Yeah, they saw you dead the last time, so... I guess we should... What do you want us to tell them? Or
I mean, I suppose I could tell them that you are dead, and that they couldn't bring you back if you really wanted, but seems like a shame.
Well, I think Lamatar Baden's life is done. I think I'm someone else now. Something else, at least. I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. If you say they're fine, I feel like I trust you.
That's good. I feel like we're trustworthy.
Something about
Being
your
trustworthy.
faces. I don't know.
What?
Thank you. We do have good faces.
You seem like you're glowing, almost.
Are we
Are
actually
we?
glowing?
Check.
No,
Look at
yeah,
them.
you look around, you do feel like a little bit energized, feel different, but you don't seem to be glowing.
Okay.
By the way, as I'm doing that, I probably noticed. Oh yeah, I still have the Sahedron medallion. Probably would have taken it off of Lamatar when we started to put him in the water.
Oh yeah,
No.
yeah, you could have removed it during the ritual.
Oh yeah, you have two
I'll
now.
pass that over. I'll pass that one over to Greshy, who didn't
Oh, aye.
have one. That was in
Yeah,
my
I'll just
pocket just now.
suppose I'll just tuck this away then. For now, it's fine.
There's a +1 bonus
Did
to
you
all saving
you got
throws.
this bow back, right?
I think it's I gave it to Gunn, who's
Yeah, I
now
think we
given
all-
it to Greshy.
Yeah, I have the stronger one now at the
Oh.
moment.
Greshy was asking
and
about
so
the
Greshy,
The bow.
oh yeah, Lamentar's bow. It's in the bag, I think.
Aye.
bow. No, I think you just handed it to him when he. Or
I
well,
just want to be
he
sure
asked,
that we had handed
he asked
that over
about
as
it.
well.
Okay, so yeah, if you bring out the bow and
That's a
it
nice
to him, yeah.
bow. You got there. What an awkward thing after a guy comes back to be like,
I do really like that bow.
oh, are you a bow aficionado? He
I've always wanted to use one. But I have this old thing. And takes out his crossbow. It was given to me by someone who's not really in our lives now.
Somebody that you used to know.
Somebody I used to know, but turned out to not be so great.
Several times, not so great.
Can I see?
Awesome.
I do.
Oh,
Crossbow.
You
It was
you
that
hand
guy.
over the crossbow. Yes, it was that guy.
I didn't realize it until Jason told me, and then I was like, ooh, because I'm like, oh, my crossbow, it's so nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the crossbow that was given to you by Aldern fairly early on.
I can scratch the name off of it.
Yeah, it's like episode 2 or 3 or something.
I was thinking the reference to it was like backstory type stuff. Then it was like,
No. Nope.
Oh
actual-
right, no, that
No.
actually
Adventure.
happened.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, if you hand him the bow and or the crossbow and he looks it over, well, it's maybe seen better days, but I mean, if you're interested, if you really want this bow, he kind of holds it out towards you. I'd be fine trading with you.
I'll
It's-
take the bone, feel it, and try it
Yeah,
out.
you hold it in your hand. It's got a few powerful enchantments that Miriana helped me put on it, but I feel like she'd almost want you to have it. But if I'm gonna stay here and be a protector of this place, I do have to have a weapon of my own.
That weapon is fairly well enchanted as well.
It's actually quite similar
Not a
to this
crossbow.
one. Just has the fire as extra. Is it weird to ask for my fire rune back?
I mean, you can
Feels a bit weird.
ask for it.
Yeah.
It's maybe a little bit, but
I'll be like, yeah, the only difference I guess is the fire rune on that one, which has come quite in handy. It might come in handy for if I have to go after Lucretia. We still do have to at least stop her, if not.
Might not want to be shooting flaming shots in the
Oh
woods
yeah,
either.
good point.
Like as a protector of the forest.
Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't put any of those kind of fiery runes on mine, just the frost. It's a shame there's no way to... I don't know how to do rune transfers.
I think
Well,
we could
luckily,
set something up real quick.
Sure. It's not quite sure what you mean, and hands you or lets you hold on to the bow and the crossbow.
We have one other one. Looks like we could also move off this haul the huge mall out of the bag of funk.
Bag of holding. God.
This one could go on my blade, and then the blade and the bow will both be pretty cool. And we could use our scroll for that. We have a scroll that will send these to a shop where the nice shopkeeper will move runes over for us in short order.
Oh, that's mighty fancy.
He's a fancy sort of guy. Sranzelplum.
Sranzel Plum, huh? Okay, well, if you can do that, sure.
Might as well ask.
All right.
So, do we have some? We have some pen and paper here, right? I think we specifically put
I've
some
got
in
some.
the.
Yes.
Yes, I believe someone has it.
I definitely have some if we
We
don't
should
have them elsewhere.
Sit down and write our detailed instructions to Sranzelplum.
Okay, yeah, you
which
find
are-
a large boulder nearby, kind of sit on it and hash out a plan for rune transfer. The runes that are on his longbow, which I told you in chat, are I think +2 greater striking frost.
Yes.
And the runes that are on the crossbow are +2 striking frost flame.
And then the maul is a +2 greater striking, with no other
Yes.
runes, I believe.
So
Okay.
the plan is that we take the greater striking from the maul, move it to the longsword. Take the flaming from the crossbow, move it to the longbow,
Okay.
and then that leaves a +2 and a striking on the maul, which would be sold to as part of the transaction to Sranzelplum to pay for the operations, and then he can return the remaining gold.
Okay.
As part of the operation, and also include please include an additional scroll of Sranzelplum's marvelous shop to so that we may use your services again.
Okay. Anything else going on that sheet?
I would scribble on a little note and add another additional 100 gold to see if I could purchase, if he happens to have and is willing to sell, the recipe for making a major staff of healing. And if he doesn't, then
okay.
I guess I'll just keep it or whatever.
All right. So you tack that on there at the end as a little rider. Cool. If someone would like to cast the spell.
I can take care of that. I will cast Sranzelplum's instantaneous-ish rune transfer. It'll take me about 10 minutes. Sranzelplum.
Okay. And I guess you've put them all in someone's bag or a bag. You need.
I've got an extra backpack, my
Okay.
old backpack, so.
So yeah, you've got all these items just kind of stuffed into this backpack, and once you've got everything ready, you chant the other magic words and then say Sranzelplum's name 3 times, and the whole thing, whoop, disappears in a small puff of confetti. That dissolves pretty quickly thereafter. How many days?
Good. Wouldn't want to be littering in the
Yeah.
sacred grove.
Okay.
Well, now we wait.
Yeah, a few moments pass, hardly more than 5 minutes, and poof, right back in the same spot. The bag appears. Sans hammer. So without the maul, with an additional with the scroll that you requested, and with a rough. It looks like a page torn out of some kind of book, with a rough description of how to craft such a thing. The healing staff.
Well, he knows his stuff, so I will take that and stash that away, and I believe that means we have a bow. And
Is it a normal bow or a composite bow?
Composite.
It is a composite longbow.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm writing things down correctly.
Yeah.
Composite lets you add some of your strength to your shot damage.
Yes, it lets you add half your strength modifier to damage. So not
Nice.
a huge bonus. It's like +1 damage for Asher right now, I think. But it's +1 damage for every shot. So
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Adds up over time. Well, and now, Lamentari, if you want us to call you that, you have a fancy new crossbow you can use.
I also give every single one of my bolts because I cannot use them in a longbow.
That
Sure,
makes
yeah,
sense.
you just
That's
hand
a
him.
lot of bolts.
You pack up all your bolts into your bolt case and hand them over.
Here you go. All of my nice shining ammo. I won't be needing this anymore.
Oh, you give him
Oh.
the magic bolts as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
I don't believe I can use bolts in a longbow.
No, but
Right.
you could resell the magic ones.
But he could use them
But
too.
I could give them to him.
that's
Asher
nice.
would.
Yeah, that's fair.
Such a kind gesture.
Just want to
He
make it clear
usually
what you're.
gives things away.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Asher
Well, Asher's always
packs up
been a
all
bit
his nice bolts. They're kind of the special ones are kind of loosely wrapped up in like straps of leather to kind of distinguish them from the others. Yeah, a couple of bolt cases later, the Lamitar now has a
I guess
shiny
he gave
new
us
crossbow.
quite a bit of a bonus on that trade too. So it's just the least you can. It's the least we can do.
Yeah.
Reasonable. Nothing
pretty-
else.
It's
Nice
a pretty
gesture,
good
though.
trade.
I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome to stay in the Shimmer Glens anytime you want.
Oh.
Guess I have to figure out how to make a living out here without upsetting the spirits. This Fae can be tricky.
Where's
He's gonna look
Hap?
around nervously.
Where's Hap? Is he still nearby?
If you
Oh,
give me a
yeah.
perception check.
I'll look around for him.
Yeah,
Hi.
it's Yap.
Yep.
Oh, We're
Oh.
both wrong.
Yep.
If we combined it, we would have been right.
A hip hop, a hip to the hippie to the hip hip hop, and you don't stop.
I tried to roll. There we go.
Yeah, 22. It looks like. You look around to see if you can spot Yap, and he's up in the White Willow, just kind of watching you guys from above.
So
He's just
there's
like standing on a branch.
one particular spirit who will probably be happy to make your acquaintance.
If they haven't met already, imagine they would have. Yep, you want to
And
come down here?
I'll point him out.
Oh, that's Yap. I used to know him. Hey, Yap! And he turns and goes, trying to half yell, half bark at Yap, who seems to be like a little afraid, maybe. Kind of flitters down a bit. They start conversing. Do you guys want to stay here and hang out with them, or?
I think for now we should probably take our leave.
Get going.
Lamitar, are you going to be okay here if we start to head back? We need to urgently get to Sandpoint
Oh,
before it.
yeah, I should be fine. You've done so much for me already. Thank you. And he does like a quick bow.
Return it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, make sure you visit Turtleback Ferry now and then and see if you've got any mail. We'll try and keep up with you.
Does
All
he have
right,
a PO box?
Will do. Just send it to the dog man, I guess. I'll probably pick a new name. I have to think
Okay.
about it. How about idiot? Says Yap from behind it.
That is not a name.
I mean, could be.
Uh,
Suppose.
yeah, he turns back to bark at Yap, and the two of them get into a light scuffle.
All
as
right,
you
we're
guys-
just gonna leave you to that then.
Awkwardly
Before
slip
Phelan
away.
starts getting involved too.
Oh no, Bane.
Phelan seems disinterested in what they're up to.
That's probably for the best.
And
Doesn't care about dog people.
yeah, he was probably kind of bored here, so he gets up eagerly and follows once you guys look like you're ready to go.
Before we get too far, I'm actually going to tear apart the nest that's on his back.
Okay,
so that I
yeah,
can have
you
my saddle back.
yeah, you start to pull out all the
Fair
stuff,
point.
leaving
idea.
these scraps of nest bits that you gathered on the
Obviously, it was
ground.
mostly like tree branches and
Yeah.
some rope and such. So.
Cloth and stuff. Hay.
All
I
right,
don't
yeah,
think he-
that takes
I
you a
don't
few
think Rock will
moments,
need
but
it.
it's pretty easy. All right. Well, with that out of the way, you now have Phelan back.
Mhm.
And you guys return to the shoreline, where
As we
the boatman is still waiting for you.
as we walk out of the woods, do we want to discuss how we feel different,
Sure.
aka what we got from our
Yeah, this is a good time to do it. Who wants to go first?
I will go first since nobody else seemed super excited about it. As one can expect, I focused on Phelan. I had originally been taken Ranger to get more feats to improve Phelan, so since I was able to break that out into its own archetype, one of the new feats, or one of the new archetypes that came out was Beastmaster, which allowed me to take all of the feats I wanted for Phelan, and then also take some class feats. So Greshy has moved in the direction of being a Storm Druid instead, and now has a few more casty abilities for it. But also Phelan's a good boy, and we must improve Phelan, and we will.
Yes. So
Phelan.
I guess Greshy
Phelan's
having.
abilities have,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Phelan's abilities have not changed in the least,
Okay.
because literally every feat that I'd taken that was a Druid feat, or my class feat, was for Phelan. So by breaking those out into archetype feats that were all the same feats I was going to take anyway, I was just able to take all those regular class feats as Druid feats instead that were not Animal Companion focused.
Okay, but you can't get the specialization or whatever.
I can.
Until a
14.
little bit later. 14. Okay.
Level 14 is when specializations come in.
Okay.
And so for Greshy, as you guys are walking through the marshland back to the turtlemen, Greshy, you're like looking up at the sky as you're using your staff as a walking stick, and it's clear for the first time in what has been quite a long time in this region. You've witnessed the effects of an extended control weather on an entire region. You've watched the land get drowned out. You've seen giant beasts torn from their living spaces and hurled into Turtleback Ferry. You've seen snakes flood the streets. You've witnessed all the downsides to manipulating the elements, and have come out of this with a new resolve, a new anathema to stop such embarrassments of nature, I suppose.
Embarrassment is a nice word for it.
All right, Gunn.
So, I only respect a couple of things. I've swapped out one of my extra level 1 class feats for a really good one that's from the APG called Desperate Prayer, which lets you get an extra focus point once a day if you're out at the start of your turn. And I've added the dimension of I've added some sorcerer to Gunn's spellcasting abilities. So he's got some early sorcerer spells focusing on buffing and maybe being a little bit of a backup healer.
And for those unaware, Pathfinder 2 has a divine sorcerer bloodline, so that allows him to get divine spells. He's not like an arcane sorcerer.
Right. And then I've also added some of the shield feats that I had just sort of thought I wouldn't be able to get to through another archetype called Bastion, which should enable me to use my shield in combat without spending so much of an action penalty. And make me a lot more tanky in that way.
So yeah, as Gunn, as you're hoofing your way through the soggy mud, you feel that your brush with death has, in some ways, brought you closer to a deeper understanding of your god, of Erastil. Has given you a closer connection to the divine that you couldn't quite feel before, and didn't quite feel until, I guess, the ritual just took place. And you've kind of been repressing some memories. Memories of, I guess, things that haven't been explicitly stated yet, so I won't spoil those.
Memories of what happened when I was in the monastery or found at the monastery before the game started.
And accepting those repressed memories as part of who you are has kind of unlocked some of your fighting potential, some of your ability to defend yourself and others that you've been perhaps too hesitant or too I think hesitant's the right word, too hesitant to really fully lean into. So that's enabled you to become hopefully more of a protector and more hold things back less, I guess.
And the final change I have is that when Rock grows up, he should be also a gooder boy.
Oh, yes.
A little bit.
Because I think those were going to happen anyway, but that retraining was going to take a while, so this lets you get that stuff faster. All right.
Yep.
Asher.
It's me. Alright, I changed a bunch. One of the biggest reasons I got rid of my crossbow, my trusty crossbows, because I completely got rid of crossbow ace, and I think quick draw I got rid of 2, and running reload.
Yep.
So I took the bow. I did a lot I guess everything I took was to buff either my animal form or my bow. I took some Eldritch Archer dedications, which basically allows me to put some spells on my arrows and shoot them. And that's pretty fun. That's also why I got rid of my bolts. So I can just kind of make my own magic arrows for, I think it does take 3, like an entire turn to do it. But then if I hit someone, it's pretty good. Like, I think if I hit them, then the spell just works.
Yeah, it's a 3-action activity. You cast the spell and make the attack roll. The attack roll counts as the attack roll for both the spell and the attack. So if you hit with the shot, then you also hit with the spell. If you crit with the shot, you also crit with the spell. So it is a full turn to do the pair of them, but it's pretty powerful. Can do a lot of fun stuff. And so I think you picked up some
chat's help for that for sure, 'cause I don't want to miss. The other stuff I took was because I managed to get my wild shape, which are my animal forms, and now I have form control, which all my little pest forms I can have for an hour, and if I cast the spell -2 levels, I can have the form for an hour. So I can pretty much have every form except for Huge for an hour. Huge is still a minute. But I took a lot of martial artist dedications and things just kind of to make it a little better.
Yeah,
so
basically
now
to beef up unarmed attacks.
Yeah, now I can grab people if I hit them, and I have
his own best friend.
Yeah, I have a few flourishes. What can I do? I basically have a power attack, and what is this? I think
So
if I
flat
miss
attack,
with
right?
my first attack, I also have my other hand I can smack with. That's just like continuing the attack.
Yeah, you can. Anytime you miss an attack, you can unarmed attack for the same penalty. So you could avoid taking MAP on attacks. It's pretty good
And eventually,
if you miss.
I can hit many people, but not yet.
You're
That
going for
comes
the
later.
full rampage ability.
Yeah.
Yes, Arcat. We're doing free archetypes, the bonus feats. So second level and every other level thereafter, you get a free feat that you can only use on archetypes. Cool. So Asher, as you guys are walking with purpose through the marsh, you are just kind of looking. Your eyes are kind of darting around at all the nature around you. You see small birds. When you first came here, there were no animals almost in the marsh at all. Now there's tiny sparrows singing songs in the trees. There's little rabbits coming out of their holes to look at you guys as you pass. The animals have returned. Things are starting to come back to normal. And
No more scary trees doing the.
yeah, no more scary trees. There's still the trees are all still very dead looking, but there's a little bit of fresher grass coming up through the dead grass everywhere. The whole place looks less scary. There's less fog. There's less terror in general.
No crazy pools.
Yeah, no crazy cursed pools of of evil. The spirits seem at rest. And I had something here for you, but now I've lost it. Yeah, no, you're feeling good. You didn't die. Oh,
feel
right. I
good.
remember now. You have now this amulet, this keepsake from your mother, given to you by your father, who you thought you had no connection with, but have kind of regained that connection to your family. And your mother, a druid, had taught you lots of things growing up, but you never took to them. You never felt like you could understand them. You never got it. You maybe felt like you were too dumb to understand, or didn't just couldn't do it for whatever reason. It was always just too difficult for you. But for some reason now it all those lessons are all just kind of rushing back to you. It all feels more natural. It feels like a mental block that was in your way is like finally kind of released, and the floodgates of power or like of primal power are like welling up inside of you. You feel more connected to the world around you, and more in tune with nature, I guess.
And I never told anyone that was my dad. It never came up in conversation. Oops.
Yeah, the party doesn't know, but I think it came up in. I'm pretty sure it came up in.
The players know.
Yeah, I think the players
everyone
in the
definitely-
audience knows. Yes.
Yeah, but nobody in my party, which is a little awkward, but it's just like he never thought to say.
There was some conversation that I think almost clued me in.
He
Well, there's
he
still-
was like hugging him all the time, like
That's true.
in
There's
front
still-
of people.
There's still time. Don't worry. There's still time. But yeah,
Hard to
that's
say
just
very
the. So
bodily
those are
things.
those are the feelings that you're each kind of experiencing as you're trekking out of the marsh in silence for a bit. You guys want to? You're welcome to talk before you arrive at the ferry if you want. Otherwise, you reach the ferry. Stop me if you want to talk to each other.
You
you reached
wanna
the ferry?
chat?
Quick, turn into something.
I could. For a whole hour, I can turn into something. But I'm okay. I turned into a cockroach.
All right, assuming that Asher doesn't just randomly turn into a cockroach on the way.
I don't.
You reach the ferryman. It's the same guy from before. He greets you, and you all hop into his upturned turtle shell, and he goes rowing away. Presumably, Phelan's in small form again.
I would guess I would shrink him down so he fit.
Yeah, you return to Turtleback Shore.
Does Rock ride in the shell, or does he fly?
He's not fast enough to keep up with.
Okay. So he's
this
still
old
not
man.
comfortable. He's still not comfortable going at or like flying for long periods. Say.
He's kind of. So I guess while you guys were walking, you maybe didn't even quite notice, but he was just kind of flapping behind you. He probably would have flown. At least he's flying more. He's kind of doing long stints of like maybe a minute at a time, kind of roughly flapping his wings, trying to keep up pace, and then landing and walking the rest of the way, and then hopping and flying a little bit more. Yeah,
Give
so
him
you
lots of
guys-
encouragement.
So you guys have returned to Turtleback Ferry. You make your way to the general store where the Black Arrow, who was sent down, is. He gives you guys the money that you from the goods that were sold. Any item trades we talked about in chat can happen. If you guys need to purchase anything, the general store is here, as well as the weapon shop if you want to, though I think the weapon owner probably now just hates you all.
Doesn't hate me. I bought stuff.
That's true.
I'm the nice one.
So if you need
Did you
anything,
need to buy more arrows or anything?
I should buy more arrows.
So I could
What
try
I do
hunting
kind
some,
of-
but
Is there anyone here that can go back to Fort Rannoch with things?
the Black Arrow's still here. He could go back.
I want to give him some of these weapons that I just don't need.
Asher just starts pulling things
I
out
have
of
a
his
few.
bag.
It's not a ton, but it's
Nice.
enough. I'm gonna give the.
Yeah, he's here.
There's a
He's
shuriken,
trying
I don't know where it came
to.
from.
Yeah, he's trying to purchase some gears and
nunchucks.
supplies for the fort. So if you're
Yeah.
offering him some stuff, he'll take it.
I'm gonna offer him my 3 daggers. Nah, I'll keep 1 dagger. I'll offer him my 2, which are just very regular daggers.
Okay.
Hold on, let me modify so I can get rid of them. Oh, it feels so nice to get rid of them. I do have just another longbow that I'm just
Just a
gonna give
regular
him.
Okay.
No, it is a +1 striking, but
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna hand it over anyway.
Sure.
Oh, I had that much ammo in it. Hold on. I thought I only had 20, but I do not. I don't
Yay,
need
free
to buy
arrows.
arrows. I think I'm okay. Do I want to keep this crossbow?
Buy some more arrows as well. And what do they have in the way of healing potions, or more haste potions, or oil of mending?
The general store, they would have some healing potions. They actually might not have healing potions. They would have. They have 3 lesser elixir of life and 10 of the minor elixir of life. Lesser elixir of life heals 3d6 plus 6, and gives you a +1 bonus to saving throws against disease and poison for 10 minutes. And the minor is the same thing, but a 1d6 instead of 3d6 plus 6. The lessers are 30 gold each. The minors are 3 gold each.
3 gold each?
For the minors, yeah. They only heal
Minors?
1d6.
Enough to get people back on their feet sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think I'll grab I'll grab 2 of the minors, 2 of the lessers, and do they have any oil of mending?
Oil of mending. Let me take a look. And we'll die. Yes, they have one of those still in stock.
All right, I'll grab one of those. Grab that as well.
Okay, that one's
So-
9 gold.
Altogether, I think that's 72.
I think so. 9 plus 3 plus 3. Sorry, did you get any of the lessers? Lessers are 30. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, 2 lessers, 2 minors, and an oil of mending.
Sorry, that's 60 plus 6 plus 9. 75.
75. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I will mark that down.
Okay. Anybody else need to buy anything before you head out?
About how big are the ferries?
If you haven't actually seen the ferry that's here for you guys yet, or you don't know what it looks like, you could go check.
I guess the better question is, should we get rations for the trip, or are they going to be feeding us, or do we have enough room to set up the yurt?
The ferry that you took over, they were able to feed you. They had a they had a kitchen. You had to pay for the meals, but
well, that's probably going to be fine.
Pretty cheap.
I would then buy, let's call it 12 rations if they have them in stock.
okay. Yeah, they have plenty of rations and stuff.
I figured, but I figured worth asking. Because I believe we are planning to do some overland travel. So 12 rations.
All right.
And
Got some
that
food.
will do it for me.
Okay. If that is it as far as shopping, you guys grab some much needed supplies and then make your way down towards the docks, where you find Shough, as well as your horses. I guess Mushy and another Black Arrow are there as well. And Mushy, seeing you, runs over to, just run straight for Greshy. But Phelan from behind gives a and she, sorry!
It's all right.
She kind of
It's all right, Mushy.
stammers back.
Phelan, please. It's gonna be fine. That's all right, everyone. Just calm down. We're getting on way.
I just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, you're not coming with?
No, Mushy remembered the thing she was gonna tell you, so I think I'm just gonna stay here. I'm gonna go back home to the Creekwood.
I mean, if you want, all right. We're
Yeah.
more than happy to introduce you to the Thistletop Goblins if you wanted.
Maybe someday, but I don't know if I can be on that boat with all the.
She kind of gives a furtive glance towards Phelan and then looks back towards the horses, and then back towards Phelan, and back towards the horses.
Well, I would promise you none of them are going to hurt you, but if you prefer staying here, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, it's okay. I think I'm better on land anyway. But it was nice meeting you.
So you just walk around the Creekwood with just what you're wearing? You don't have any sort of weapon?
No, Mushy doesn't need weapons. Mushy is free. Mushy just has fun.
And that got you captured last time. Seems like
yeah.
you're good to defend yourself somehow.
Oh. I guess. Maybe.
Greshy's going to whip out his clan dagger and offer it to her.
Ooh. She takes it in hand and looks it over,
So-
eyeing the spot that the gemstone would have been.
Ooh, shiny.
If nothing else, you can use it for cutting down branches and making yourself a shelter or something if you need to. Killing animals.
Oh, I've never had my own dog slicer before. Wow.
I suppose you can get started here, though not on my dog.
Okay. Well, I feel like he would kill me anyway.
That's why we don't start with him.
Right. I'll start on the smaller ones. Start small, work my way up. Gotta defend myself. Gotta defend myself.
She's gonna become a murderer. It's gonna be great.
Oh, the beauty of nature. Well, I suppose off with you then, Moshi.
Well, yeah.
She comes up and tries to give you a hug.
I'll very gingerly hug her back, I guess.
Okay, it's just awkwardly.
That's very awkward. Well,
All right.
take care of yourself. I'll try and visit, I suppose, at some point.
Great. Mushy would like that. You guys can come too.
She says kind of dismissively towards Asher and Gunn.
Just
That's
don't bring
fine.
any horses, okay? The dog can come, I guess. As long as he doesn't eat me.
And she starts starts to kind of shuffle away.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Moshi.
Bye.
Bye.
Much-
Bye. Bye.
Sorry, she insisted on staying here until you got here. Shalelu says as she comes walking up now that now that she's gone.
She was very sweet.
Well, are you guys all ready? Looks like the boat's already here, and they're ready to go whenever you guys are.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm ready to get out of here.
Don't you two forget that you still rented those horses, I believe, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you actually buy them?
I rented
Still need to
this
pay that
one.
off.
Bought it.
Oh, that's
Now
right.
he's going back. He's going back to his home.
And I sure hope he makes it.
He's gonna make it there. Nothing will go wrong, and Blitz will make it there. Or his spirit will be free. One of two things will happen.
Oh, that poor horse.
Oh.
Oh, Shalelu, you can keep Kapal. I don't think I'm going to be needing him much. And I think you two would be better off together.
Oh, he is a fine horse. But, well, it'll certainly make all those ranging expeditions a bit easier.
I made you do enough of
Thanks.
it on foot. So, appreciate it.
Well, I managed to requisition that one over there, and she points. It's kind of a squat, kind of fat-looking vessel almost. It's very wide ship. It's called the Burly Bertha. She says, kind of unsure of herself. I asked around town, and they seem to be one of the faster ships around. They didn't have any merchant business lately due to the floods, and they were pretty eager to take us on.
Nothing else. It'll be going downstream. So
Yeah, the captain said it should be less than a week to. Well, we had some options, but I can go over them on the boat. Any other details? The Black Arrows have already paid for the whole trip. Should include food. They've got a chef on board. I don't know how much I trust the cooking, but I guess we'll see. It should be an easy journey.
Well, knowing our last couple of journeys, I'm not going to hold my breath, but we'll see.
Time to catch fish.
Well, if
Oh, I need
anything, it'll at least
strength.
be some time to get some good rest in. I feel like everything hurts, she says as she kind of turns around and starts to walk towards the boat. Come on, let's get going then.
Let's do it. Get out of here.
Alright, the group of you gather your things and lead the horses over to the Burly Bertha. You're greeted at the ship ramp by a rather tall half-orc. He's wearing a kind of like a gaudy, like faux pirate uniform. It's very showy. Like clearly he's not a real pirate at all. But it's like a Halloween pirate, basically. You must be our wards for this trip. I'm Captain Bartholomew Barris, but you can just call me Captain Barris. This here is the Burly Bertha. I hope you're all ready for a smooth, safe journey.
Yes.
I'm definitely ready for that.
That would be great. I think it'd be both of those things.
Seems a bit out of season for the outfit, but alright.
There's some room for pirate outfits.
It's
You got
just,
it on clearance.
it feels empowering, you know? I've always wanted to be a pirate, but never quite had the adventuring spirit for it. Anyway, it sounds like I already know you. You're that Shalalu, right? And you three are.
My name's Asher.
Shough. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And the bald one?
Greshy.
That's Greshy.
Well, nice to meet you too.
Sure.
So let's here, come on board and Bran, Bart's, go and load the horses. Yeah, come on over here. We'll take a look at the maps and see where you guys exactly want to go. Here, you guys want to get back to Sandpoint, right?
Yes, preferably.
That'd be
So
the
he-
plan.
He leads you over to the helm station on deck and unfurls a map of the region. Versia. And so you guys... Where are you? I'll find you somewhere.
A little more.
There you are.
There.
Got it. So you guys are at Turtleback Ferry. It is like a close to 500 mile trek down the river. You'll pass Ilsurian. So they're not taking on any other jobs or anything while you guys are on board, so they're just going to be skipping any towns unless you want to stop anywhere. Otherwise, yeah, they'll just be taking this trip down the Yondapkari. The first option is to stop at Wardle, which is probably the closest like major settlement to Sandpoint along the way. Yeah, it would be about 100-mile trek overland to get to Sandpoint proper. You'd be passing through forests and marshes and over small rivers and things like that. The next option is to go further down the Yondapkari, which would probably add another... So you could get to Wardle in probably about like 3 days, and then you could take another 2 days or so to go much closer to Sandpoint, and basically just stop off on the riverbank, and then take a 30-mile trek to Sandpoint. Even more alternatively, you could tack another day on, go all the way to Magnamar, and then take horses to Sandpoint. Or ride your animal companions. Which would be like a couple days to get to Sandpoint. Because then you'd get to travel along the roads directly. So it's up to you guys.
Because our on-foot travel speed is going to be something like 24 miles a day, ish.
So, it
So
would
it's
still
about
take
4
us
days from
Oh, yeah.
Wardle to Sandpoint, and that's assuming it's not difficult terrain. If we stop along the way, it's only about a little more than 1 day. So that does seem like it's the fastest, because that'll probably save us a day to versus walking the whole distance.
Mhm.
And then going to Magnamar is probably going to cost us, because then you have 2 days. Going to Magnamar is probably the longest bite, so I think that it's like -1 day, 0, and +1 day for the.
Yeah, I
So-
don't think I want to go through Magnamar. Asher is pretty we're not going. I'm not going through Magnamar.
The only reason I would suggest we go through Magnamar is that we should probably check in on Aurelian, make sure that the house is okay.
It's
But-
fine.
And on the
Asher
mayor,
says. The
and on
house
the
is
mayor,
fine.
and make sure he got our message and is mobilizing. But we could do that
Possibility.
just as easily from Sandpoint.
Char's gone very fuzzy.
Oh God, what's happened to me?
Yeah, it keeps doing it, ran away.
It's just sometimes if you get certain distance from it, it tries to fix itself and it just makes it worse.
Oh,
Mine does,
try
mine
to
does that
stay.
sometimes too. Well,
I suppose I would vote for the fastest route.
I would agree if we just hop off of the riverbank and then
Yep.
I'm fine with that. Just not Magnamar.
As long as the boat can safely pull over in the wilderness and let us
You just have
disembark.
to jump off, Gunn.
well, I'm
Oh,
less
yeah,
worried about us and more the
I've done
Tarsus.
plenty of riverbank disembarkments. It should be fine. The only reason that we, unless you wanted to stop somewhere for supplies, that's the only real reason I guess we'd stop at somewhere like Wardle.
I mean, unless they can start moving cannon right now, I don't see any reason to stop.
All right. Well, that'll be the plan. Just let me know if you guys want to change your minds.
Mhm.
I'll be right here steering the ship. If you make your way downstairs, there should be bunks for the whole lot of you, all 4 of you. Your animals are fine. Just don't spook Boo here. He's my crow. Caw, caw. From a little cage hanging behind him. Yeah, don't. That's a dog. It probably won't eat my precious friend. But that there, what is that? Is it some kind of eagle? He says, looking at.
Yeah, he's just a baby, but he's already pretty big.
All right, just watch him. I don't want to have to buy
Will do.
another crow. That's took long enough to train this one. Okay.
Is this Boo the first or Boo the second?
No, this is Boo the first. I like to pick different names for him each time.
Oh, that's fair.
Well, if you guys are all set up, we should be able to disembark whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do.
No,
Let's make a
No
safety
regrets.
save offshore first, and then we'll disembark in case we have to reload later.
all right,
So I guess
Ben, Boar, y'all bring the landy thing in. Let's go. He starts shouting orders to his crew, and it's a bunch of other half-orcs who all climb out of the woodwork and start hoisting the ramp back in, cut the ropes, and start to turn the ship around, some oars come out from lower deck and start rowing the ship to get it to turn around. And you start your journey off of into Clay Bottom Lake.
So I suppose we could stop at Wardle just for an hour to see if there's any news.
Get a newspaper.
What kind of news were you looking for?
Any news about towns being destroyed or ogres marching across, the usual?
I mean, fair, we can do that, and just... as long as it doesn't take much more than an hour. We really do need to keep moving, and
Agreed.
If we don't find that information, or more importantly, if we do find that information, I don't know what's going to change.
Agreed. The real question I'm asking myself is, how could an army of ogres arrive at Sandpoint without being spotted at Magnamar, Nybor, Galduria, or any of these other...
I mean,
as they cross the farmlands, as they cross all of the human lands?
Well, it depends on where this...
Even though the map looks empty, there are a lot of forests and like mountains and shit in the way, but like smaller like foothills and things.
If it was a large enough forest, you'd think that someone would spot them, send some scouts. So I certainly think like a strike force could do it, but a large army would be a surprise. So,
but a strike force of ogres could still be quite a dangerous force to deal with for any town.
For sure.
I mean, even the strike force of goblins. It wasn't like there were hundreds and thousands of goblins that came after Sandpoint last time, and they still did a lot of damage.
True.
Yeah, Sandpoint's not necessarily known for its giant army.
Or strong defenses. So...
That's all true.
I mean, we can still check for news. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's going to make much difference unless it finds out that they're right there at Nybor. We might be able to cut them off. That'd be the only difference.
Yeah. If they're coming around the south, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know which way they'd be coming though, so... But, let's be off.
Okay.
Somebody made that save point before it's too late.
So yeah, you guys progress out of disc 3, and you reach the insert disc 4 loading screen. You insert disc 4, and the game loads back in, and you find yourselves on a boat in a river.
I was really hoping there'd actually be a load screen there.
It's
there
almost
it
a
is.
load screen. Oh, the boat.
Barras with A, not E.
Yeah, sorry. Barras.
I assume you have every single one of them named because I've been writing them down. I'm tracking this one now.
I do have
You
them
got
all
off
named.
lucky because I didn't ask you all the different crows' names. Because I was expecting all of them to start with B2. I'm on to you. I see what's going on here.
All right. Well, so you guys have some downtime days. This journey is going to take close to a week. So I'll treat it as a week as far as downtime goes. So if anybody wants to do any feat retraining, you are free to do that. I think some people did want to do that because I didn't allow skill feats or general feats to retrain as part of Miriana's blessing. So if you guys would like to do any of that, I guess inform me now if that's what you're going to be working on. Otherwise,
Gunn will be getting swole. I'm gonna swap out recognize spell, which has pretty much never been useful, for quick jump.
Okay. So you'll be working on, just doing your calisthenics and squats.
Some lunges.
Lots of lunges on deck every day. While Rock tries to fly a little bit.
And teaching Rock how to fly a little bit too.
Okay.
And maybe fish. Maybe you can go fishing.
Greshy's going to spend a lot of time basically by himself in the corner, figuring out how to fletch arrows, and then how to fletch arrows faster, and see how quickly he can start pulling together different things as he crafts them. And we'll be swapping out Assurance Medicine, since I don't get nearly so much use out of that as I thought I would, for a new feat called Hasty Crafter.
Yes, this is a homebrew feat because there's not a lot of downtime in this campaign, it seems. If you would like to craft, it speeds up crafting based on or you have an option to take an increased DC to the craft check to craft faster, basically. Crafted in, 2 days instead of 4, and then as it goes up, it becomes 1 day, then 4 hours, then 1 hour.
And the increased the DC difficulty doubles each time, so it goes 2, then 4, then 8, then 16 for each.
Yep.
Difficulty increase. So.
What about Asher? Does Asher want to do any downtime activities over the course of this? Do you want to change any skill feats?
The only skill feats that I wanted to take were general, and I actually like all my general feats. So I guess I'm pretty okay there.
Gonna fish instead?
I was actually gonna practice my animal forms, which I guess you don't need to practice, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, but,
that's changing into stuff and balancing and kind of figuring each one out.
Yeah, you did undergo a pretty dramatic change in power.
Keep each other company for it.
And I'd be what can I turn to next? Whoa. But not the big ones. I'm going to be doing the smaller, like a cat.
Right. And this is actually a good time to work on your form control, right?
Yeah.
Where you try to maintain
because I figure I can't just
immediately
do that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
The week.
That all sounds good to me. So, we'll go through this, I guess, day by day real quick. So the first day is you've spent a lot of the day already dealing with this whole Lavatar Baden situation and selling off items and trading things. Shalelu is, for her part, just she's doing her own arrow fletching to sort of replenish her stock based from the materials that she's gathered. And I guess Greshy, you might see her doing this, and she can kind of show you some of the tricks that she's learned.
Handy.
She's got her whittling knife out, and I believe you did some whittling early on in the adventure. And it reminded you...
I did, and I still have my whittling knife, so...
Yeah, it reminded you of your whittling days not so long ago. So you decided
Trying to make a bear and failing miserably at it.
You decided to take some time to actually dedicate yourself to that. The travel is it's pretty smooth sailing. Most of the half-orcs kind of keep their distance from you. Especially from Phelan, who is taking up a big portion of of the boat, I guess. Rock is mostly just kind of flying around, he's kind of jumping on various poles and platforms and flying from spot to spot. The chef, where is the chef? One of these guys with the chef. Oh, this guy. The chef is kind of off to the side, near the captain, working on... He's got a little a pot of some kind of stew brewing. And the others were all just kind of going about their work, hefting things around, shifting stuff, I don't know, boat things, as they would happen. Do you guys want to interact with each other at all? You've finally got a moment of calm in this long storm that was the Hook Mountain Massacre. This is like your first chance to really breathe for a bit. What would you like to do?
Well, I guess the first animal I want to turn to is a cat, and I want to hunt rats on the ship. And I will bring any rats I catch to my good friends. Also, all the animals I turn into, some of the animals are a little funky, but they're basically kind of like raggedy. They don't look too great, just like Asher, like who doesn't do his hair, does his hair or anything, and they're mostly like the same color that his hair is.
Oh,
Like
they're not all
sometimes
zebra
stripes
stripe?
and stuff. There's
So they're
the only
all-
animal.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, the only animal that isn't like kind of brownish like he is the cougar, which is pretty much exactly like his dad's cougar.
Right, the
That's
fire
it.
pelt cougars. Thank you, Ido, for giving the... Here, I'll increase Asher's to 10. It messes up the UI, but... you've turned into a cat and are just kind of prowling around. You go below deck, so people kind of lose sight of you for a bit while you're chasing down ship mice. What are the other two of you up to?
I was wondering if I could get Greshy to cast mending. Turns out oil of mending doesn't work on magic items of any sort.
Oh, that's right. Your magic shield.
You've been swindled. Oil of Mending doesn't work on...
Nope.
It's second level. You have to cast it third level to
Oh.
have it affect magic items.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
I can't today because I would have already cast it on my wand to get my wand working, but I can
Right.
prepare and get that cast free tomorrow. Shouldn't be a problem.
Thanks.
Also, there's a car going off someplace out here on the Great River, so I was like,
I can't hear it, so
I can't
Oh, that's
either.
good. It's just me.
Noise cancellation is working well.
perfect. Wow. But
Oh, there it is.
You can hear it now?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Maybe. That's fine. It's fine.
That's not new. That's good. That's what matters.
Those birds sure are loud.
Friggin' seagulls, man. I swear. But I can get your shield fixed up for you tomorrow. Or for that matter, if I get a bit of time this evening, I might even be able to just do something with it today.
Okay.
See what I can do at least. I've got my kit somewhere in the bag. Greshy starts fishing around in the bag. He's just had the satchel next to him since he's been kind of working on different crafting things, and a lot of his stuff is still just stored in the bag. So, shield.
Hand it over.
All right. Well, I'll give it a whirl. See if I can get that fixed up. I think just 10 minutes in a crafting check for repair.
Yep, I believe that is the case.
So we'll just press the button and see what happens. Oh, that could have been worse, but it could have been
Is
better.
it
24.
24? What's the item? Or what kind of shield is it?
Lesser sturdy shield. I think it's like 8th level.
Yeah, 7th level.
7th.
Grab you that DC for you. 7th level is a 23.
Hey, I beat it.
So that is a success.
So I can repair 15 hit points for it today.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
do.
basically gets it there. It's all, I mean,
So
it
I'll
was
just-
down 17, so that's probably fine.
I'll spend some time and with the hammer and carefully kind of pinning it between two, I guess, pieces of wood that are there. I'll start just trying to smash it back into place, and it'll take me a bit, but after a bit I'll get that at least looking mostly fine. A couple dents still, but seems to be still sturdy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. See if we can keep that in good kit.
I don't know. I'm going to get a lot more use out of it
Well,
from now on.
still worth trying to keep into good kit, but nothing else I can maybe get you something a bit better sometime. Just gonna take me a while. You got some more plans apparently.
Oh yeah.
Shield work better than your arms, huh?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I don't want to ever do that again. Didn't work very well the first time. Didn't make it very far after.
After having your arms almost chopped off.
Correct.
Why would you do that anyway?
Well, I was trying to escape from some mercenaries who I had just turned on. There was some bad dealings in this little village. We were all sent out there to pacify the farmers a little bit, and that's when I broke from the ranks.
So you were sent by this mercenary brigade to go beat the shit out of some farmers?
Kill.
All right.
I think was the intent, yes, and rather than doing that, I decided to get out. That was when that's when I started going the way I'm going now.
I suppose everyone has their limits. There's part of me that's a bit sad that martyr was where it was for you, but at least you found it. And more importantly, at least you seem to be on a better path for it, so... Blessings in bad places.
Indeed. Well...
Is that why Rastal?
That's where Rastal found me, I think.
Or in the farmer's field. Well, seems you made a good choice. There are many worse men out there who made many worse decisions.
Well, doing my best to make up for it someday.
Well, even if we got farther to go.
You know,
I think we're
actually,
getting there.
I feel like we really are making a difference. So I'm satisfied with what we're doing.
Gunn,
think we're
you
doing
feel
well.
something brush up against your leg.
Is it a cat?
You
Is
look
it a scraggly cat?
and you see a scraggly cat with like an emaciated looking mouse and it's dangling from its mouth. Kind of walk past you.
I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too, Asher.
Everyone's proud of Asher. Yay.
Yeah, Asher's kind of standing in cat form in between the two of you, just kind of proudly displaying the small
I know
mouse.
cats well enough to get that message from body language, I think.
I found this.
I
for
definitely
you.
had some dealing with stray cats, and usually it's as much to say, hey, I don't think you can feed yourself, so here's something I
Oh
found.
no.
So you
I
can have
accidentally
it."
offended my friend.
Ido in chat called this a blessing of Erastal. One offering.
Here you go. Plah. For you guys.
The rat
Thank you.
splats onto the ground.
Maybe
Pasture.
maybe Rock would like this.
Oh, okay. I don't say anything because I'm a cat, but I pick it up and I go find Rock.
I really hope Rock recognizes that's Asher and doesn't think
Maybe
that
he
that's something
wants
to eat.
me. Yeah, that's okay. I'll turn back if he tries to eat me.
Asher, you approach Rock, who looks at you and kind of tilts his head, and then kind of opens his mouth,
Oh boy,
and then just
I have
like keeps his mouth open and leans it towards you.
to throw it in. Ah.
He catches it in one swift motion and just, gulp, just gulps it down.
Someone appreciates my gifts. I didn't get anything from Phelan. Okay. Has it been an hour?
No, it's only been like 20 minutes or so.
I only took 10 minutes for the shield, so.
Oh my goodness. Have I ever want to do something as a cat? I'm like, is it comfier to sleep as a cat than it was as a person?
Imagine
Asher,
killing a beast.
Cat Asher is just pensively looking around.
Yeah.
You know, I did decide as part of all this, when we're all said and done here, I'd like to go back up to Riddleport and give those amber blades a piece of my mind.
Proper chance at redemption for them.
Yeah, a chance.
I'm gonna turn back into Asher and be like,
I
who?
appreciate you giving them a chance.
Who? Are there other people that we have to fight?
Eventually. Same
It's
place.
a personal matter, but I would welcome the company if
I
we
don't
get
know.
if we get time to do that.
Where is that place?
Riddleport?
Riddleport.
It's further up the coast.
Yes, you are aware of...
Yeah, where did I come from? I came from up north
Who are you
somewhere.
people? Where did I come from?
I was wandering around in the woods for like most of my life. I don't know where I am. I just know where north is.
So Sandpoint
Well,
is
it turns out
here.
Riddlepoint's north.
Riddleport
Oh, it's all the way
is
up there.
to the north. Asher,
I'm more
you
north.
would have come from like, sorry, I think it's somewhere around here. I forget where it
super
was
north.
exactly. It's near the Miriani Forest.
All right.
It
Well, I had
might
to
have
travel
been somewhere
down.
there. You would have passed.
Yeah,
by
I had
Riddleport,
to
you would-
travel down through Riddleport, so I know where it is.
Yeah, it's kind of a. It's another one of these, like many of the cities in Verzia. It's got one of these kind of ancient landmarky, kind of stone sculpture-y things. I forget what exactly is in Riddleport. I can tell you guys later when I remember. Like the bridge in Magnamar or the tower in Sandpoint. But is kind of known to be sort of like a den of thieves and misfits. It's kind of a lawless-ish place. I believe pirates kind of rule over it.
I believe so.
Um,
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
So yeah, not a lot of great things happen in Riddleport.
Oh, Cyphergate. Whatever that is.
It's alright. I briefly know of it, having come down from.
Yeah, I think Asher probably wouldn't have
Wooded
stayed in
Forest.
Riddleport because I don't think
No.
Asher likes cities at all. But you
He
would have heard
doesn't
of it
like
before.
them.
And it's
You're-
apparently
you're-
a pretty big city, so.
Yeah, you're aware of where it is.
I passed near it. I've heard stories about it.
You could probably smell it from where you're at.
I mean, I can't even. My
Well,
my
that's-
smell is a little.
That's fair.
I don't smell much anymore, Greshy.
I would have no problem giving you a hand, giving them that chance.
Well, I wouldn't
And-
have expected a lawful man like Gunn to have come from a place like that.
If you're talking, you might be muted.
I'm muted.
No,
Oh, she's not.
no, that
This
was
happened.
Gunn.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, you didn't say anything. Okay, sorry, I can't.
You know, I did
You're
not
very
really,
small on my monitor right now, so I couldn't. I thought
No
your
worries.
mouth was moving. I could make you bigger.
I did
There
not
we go.
really respond to that.
Okay.
It's okay. I missed like most of the backstory as Asher, but not as myself.
Okay.
Well, I guess
guess
I'll
we'll-
focus again.
All right. Asher goes back to. He starts watching Phelan and Rock a bit, and then looks out to the gulls. River gulls? I don't know.
River girls with their very loud honking.
Yeah. And yeah, then after 10 minutes of refocusing, is able to transform again and goes back to doing cat things. Cool. The rest of the day goes by without issue, unless anybody wants to do anything specific that day. We pass to... it was Moon Day Neth the 11th. We are now... whatever the day is that's after that. Toil Day. Right? Tuesday is Toil Day, yeah.
Sounds right.
Yes, Toil Day the
Toilet
12th.
day.
Okay. Day 1 out of the way. Day 2. So, by day 2, I believe you pass by, Ilsurian, as you exit the Skull River and head into Lake Sarantula, making your way towards Whistledown. Anything you guys would like to do today? I guess most of this time Shough's been pretty quiet, but while maybe early in the morning she might be out by herself, just kind of looking out over the river, arms leaned up against the railing. Sorry, window. Window. I meant over the railing to the river. I don't know what I said. I've forgotten. Okay.
Could be a good opportunity to approach her and kind of try and see what her long-term plans are.
Sure. Yeah. Gunn, you're up with Rock, who maybe was kind of pestering you to awaken earlier than you might have wanted. And as you kind of stumble out, you see Shalelu out at the front of the boat. Just kind of hanging out over there. And you and Rock I guess the others are still down below currently.
Just kind of hail her. Hey there. Morning.
Oh,
Quite a-
Gunn. Good morning.
Quite a lot's happened in such a short time.
Yeah, honestly, I just thought it was gonna be a trip up to see my dear old dad. Not all that craziness.
You're... what now?
Well, I guess he's more like a stepdad. You remember Jakardros, right?
I do.
It's a long story
Really?
short. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we found him. Okay, I'm glad we found him in one piece. Wait, that's good, right?
She thinks. I think now it's good, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't really have a great relationship with him until recently. When I heard the Black Arrows were having some kind of trouble, I half wanted to go up there and make sure he was doing fine. Half wanted to just go kill him myself.
Well, I'm glad you made up the other half of your mind.
Yeah, I am too. I'm not really a murderous type anyway, I guess. Maybe a little bit. She thinks to all the goblins she's had to kill.
Had to.
Only when they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
She's quick to add.
Have you always lived around this region? Do you just travel around all the time? Or do you have a home?
These days, my home's Sandpoint, I guess. Used to be from the Miriana Woods. It's kind of up to the northeast of Sandpoint-ish.
But
It's an old elven
no-
settlement.
No relation
To
Miriana?
Oh,
the wood-
no, I think it's spelled differently.
Oh, what?
Oh, Miriani. Miriani is what I meant to say. If that's
Oh.
what I said. Mierani.
That would have made
Miriani Forest.
it would make sense either way.
Yeah, no relation, I don't think, unless it's some kind of corruption. of her name. I don't know. I don't think she's that old.
Anyway, well then you're surely interested in what we're headed back to Sandpoint to take care of, but was wondering what you plan to do in the long term. Would you like to stick with us, or?
Well, I don't know. You guys are you're so far beyond what I could ever do.
We're trouble magnets. That's what we are. But you're definitely, you've saved our behinds plenty of times already. Many times.
True. She kind of nods and smirks at that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Sandpoint's my real home, but part of me wanted to stay up with the Black Arrows and help them out. I feel like I could do... I don't know, I feel so helpless when we're in those crazy situations and giants are crushing my friends right before my eyes. It's kind of...
I don't think I would ever call you helpless. That's definitely not been my impression so far.
I could barely hit those guys, and
I don't speak for everyone, but if you wanted to stick with us as long as we're going, you have my vote.
I'll think about it. It's very tempting. Very tempting. Elves normally like to just kind of sit back and let life happen to them, but I've never been like that, so... It's nice to have a purpose, to have places that you need to be, things you need to do. But Sandpoint gives me that too. Right now, all I can think about is what would happen if Sandpoint does get attacked. What would happen to Mako? What would happen to all those people?
We'll get there as soon as we can. We'll get there as soon as we can, and we'll do our best to make sure everyone's all right. Have you any thoughts about what Lucretia might be after? All I can think of is there's some unexplored ruins that go deeper than we were able.
She kind of shrugs. At this point, Greshy and Asher are making their way up.
Good morning.
Greshy, unfurls, opens up his layers of clothing, and little puppy Phelan jumps out and grows big.
Let's pick their brains too. Hey, fellas.
Hey.
Have you any idea specifically what Lucretia might be after? Do you think we know anything that we haven't put together yet?
Point?
All I can think of is the tunnels underneath, which we weren't able to fully explore.
Oh, under the... I don't know if you ever really told me about those tunnels. You mentioned them a couple of times.
There was more tunnels going down into the ruins than we had any means to follow.
Yeah, it was covered in rubble, if I remember.
I want to say we cleared out.
You said underneath
We could have the upper one.
It was underneath the glassworks?
Yeah.
I want to say we cleared out some of the
That
rubble and explored one section, but there's also the whole big tower or whatever.
Yeah, there was that opening that was like a manhole in the middle of the city that we... Oh no, that was where the face was.
There was a stairwell that was collapsed in that went down that you
Mhm.
couldn't get through at the top.
Didn't
Maybe
we
there's
get
something
some-
there.
Didn't we get some pickaxes and
There
start
was
on that or something like that?
something.
We
I
might
thought
have
we
gotten
did it to
started,
the
we never got far.
upwards
Yeah.
part. I think. We
Yeah, you ended up.
cleared.
I think it went up out into the street, and then if you went further down, it would have gone somewhere presumably, but it was too. It was
It would've
collapsed
been days
in
to
and
weeks,
would have
probably,
been
yeah.
a long time to re-explore.
Maybe we left the soldiers clearing it out or something.
I
And
think
then
you
never
told
got
them.
back
I
to-
think we left the soldiers guarding it. Not to
Yeah,
let
you
anyone
told
in.
them you told them to guard it. You told them not to bother or not to do anything down there other than you had them clear out the Lamashtu shrine that was underneath the city, but you
Okay.
did not have them mess with the trying to get any
The
further
collapsed
down.
tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In character, I just figured it had all collapsed except for the top part. Asher
Hmm.
says.
Well, it would have made sense for it to have
But-
collapsed since it's that far down, but then again,
Maybe
a lot
there's
of those things survived.
Yeah. Maybe it's
Oh,
not
so-
entirely.
What's so important about a bunch
There
of
was
ruins?
It's not the ruins, it's what's inside of them. And if these things had powerful magic they
We
could
did
use.
find that one pool of water. And things were
Aye.
crawling out of it. So maybe there's more ways to summon things below that are even worse than that.
Pool of water summoning things.
Just that.
Sin
I just
spawn?
like it was like a
Was that what they were called? Sin spawn?
yeah.
Sin
that's
spawn.
it. That's it, Greshy.
They were some sort of really horrifying looking type of creature that was summoned out of a large pool of water that they had there. Trying to remember. Was that the Wrath Lord's
Yeah,
place?
she had a statue there. I think she was the red one.
A Lasnist.
Yes, that was the. You saw a
that's-
statue of a Lasnist there. It's a woman with like wild-looking hair, and she was wielding a fuck. What are they called? It's like a kind of a
It's a
polearm,
glaive.
glaive kind of weapon. Rancier. It's a Rancier.
Rancier.
That's right.
R-E-N-S-C-U-R.
And we also found a projection of a different one of the Runelords.
Well, the king guy.
That was.
Oh right, that was in that
I
weird
tried to dig through my
dungeon
notes real
underneath
quick.
Thistletop, right? I was there for that
Never
one at
found
least.
out what he was saying.
Yeah, there.
No.
That's where the projection was.
Yeah, it was in that weird room.
Saw him again someplace else though. Where did we see him again?
Do you have a statue somewhere else?
I don't think you've seen him before, or I
I-
don't think you've seen his face anywhere else. There were statues of him in the Thistletop dungeon.
Oh yeah.
We
Just
saw
the
the
top dungeon,
image of him
it's-
someplace, and then someplace else I thought we had seen
Thistletop
Him
dungeon
again.
itself.
I think we saw someone else.
The Thistletop dungeon itself was built on a giant statue, if I recall.
It was
Yeah.
inside the Thistletop itself is like this giant skull
Head.
island thing. Yeah, some kind of head. Maybe it was part of a statue or something.
That's the thinking.
Herzog.
Oh,
I think we need to talk to.
Somebody said that name before, right? Where did we hear that name?
From the ogres or from Lucretia?
Karzog's
all-
brain?
Was Shillelagh there with you in that fight?
No.
No,
Okay, I
yeah.
don't.
She
okay,
was the
that-
egg.
Oh, right, she was with the egg. Yeah. Okay, so she wouldn't have heard that part. I think she might have heard you mention it later, but
Mm-hmm.
so you said something about Karzug's Rain. What's that?
Oh no, we should find a library.
It was Lucretia's reference to the floating that they were doing.
Oh, like
Yeah, she called it
R-A-I-N, not R-E-I-G-N.
Yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
what if it was the different rain? What is it the rains of?
Castamere.
Well,
So I guess that confirms that
Probably the one who
rain is
knows
part
the
of her
most.
plan.
Maybe the rains of Karzug's love bless you all.
yeah.
And then the city floated.
Probably the
We
one
should-
who knows the most about it is Broderick Quink, so maybe we find him early on if we can and see if he knows anything about why they might be coming this way.
Were we still planning on stopping in that one town? For like an
Maybe.
hour? I don't know how big is it, or if they have like a library. I don't know.
We can find out when we get there.
Yeah, it's certainly
take a look
not
real
as big
quick.
as Magnamar, I assume.
We could go to Magnamar and check there.
No,
Can you turn into any flying creatures, Asher? Maybe we could.
I can't. I think I can.
Maybe you could stop and pick up news and then catch up to the boat.
I'd rather not have Asher do that, just in case
Very
something
fast.
happens.
I can run. I learned this new cool
this is a-
spell, guys.
This boat is going pretty quick. Just saying.
Yeah, Shillelagh would know that Wardle is it's a frontier type trading post. It's not a very big town. They've got
Might be
some
news, but that's it.
liquor stores and brothels and taverns.
We need to
Maybe
definitely
the
stop
working
off there.
ladies will know. They'll hear stories. They have to hear stories.
Well, I was talking about the liquor store, but if you really want to stop off and say hello to the ladies, we can do that.
You know, people come in and tell them all sorts of stories as they give them money for their.
Do you remember that time you fought a giant?
Yeah.
12 giants.
Could we? Do we have any messaging long distance spells we can prep while we're doing this journey?
I could prep some more of those animal messenger spells and see if we can get some of those seagulls to stop honking for a while to send a message for us.
Send something to Magnamar and see if we can get Can we get a reply back in any way?
Not unless they do it themselves.
What about what other spells are there that we could? Does anybody know any?
You could do
Sending exists, I just don't have access to it.
Yeah, if you wanted to ask me, you can do a recall knowledge check to try and know in character, but
There.
you wouldn't know of any offhand.
Yeah. There's one that I could. There's a common one that I could learn, but it does not go two-way. So no.
Nothing in my repertoire would be capable of doing that besides them send a message back in the same way that we send a message to them, which would be just animal messenger.
Could we? Is there any way we could send somebody ahead? Rock,
Faster than we're
how's-
going?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Asher would be the only one probably if Asher
I
can fly.
30 feet as a bird.
Ah.
And that is with a spell to help me fly 30 feet. My pest
Okay.
form, unfortunately, is 20 feet.
Oh, Rock, you're growing up too fast and yet too slow.
I can try.
All right, I guess. I guess.
Actually,
that's,
if I get on land, I'm a lot faster.
Hmm?
But, let me see.
That could work.
I am 50. I can be up to 60 feet per move. Is my max of any animal I can turn into.
I
I
think
just have
the
to refocus
fastest
every 10 minutes.
I could do
Or every hour.
something fun, but I'd only be able to do it for 2 of us, not
And
for
you-
all of us.
You could hustle to move twice that overland speed for a short time to go distance.
I could really try.
Well, that's all that would do is save us an hour versus stopping. So
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it.
we could stop or not stop just as easily. What do you think?
I think an hour
Yeah.
is going to make little no difference at this point, so. Also, I don't think Asher could bring back some liquor if he was, in bird form.
Good
So-
point.
I could bring it back as a.
All right. Well, how about let's ask the captain if we can stop for just an hour or so
Hey,
to ask
Captain
around in
Barris.
town if there's any news.
Oh, deer
Okay,
can kind
yeah.
of swim.
Gunn, you make your way over to Captain Barris and relay this to him, and he agrees. He's fine with that. They will make a stop at that town, whose name I
That'll be
forgot.
like tomorrow,
Portal.
probably.
Let's see, where are you guys? You're just passing Illyrian. It'll probably be another. So this is day 1, day 2. You're gonna pass Whistledown tomorrow, and then you'll probably get to Wardle the day after that.
Okay.
So a couple days.
All right. Well, that's
Okay.
all I have. Probably pass the rest of the day trying to teach Rock how to fly and try and get fish.
All right.
Going to spend more day working on practicing crafting things. And then in between that, I'm going to start putting together a small series of notes and with pins and lines going places. So I start trying to put things together as to why this is important. Nobody is allowed to touch my board.
Oh, I was absolutely going to touch your board.
Do not touch the board.
I'm coming over to touch it.
Everything's in a very specific order. Do not touch it.
I don't understand this map.
Asher in cat form walks across,
Like,
knocking
stretches
everything
out,
over.
rolls over, just shoves them off.
She just
Hey,
about
you-
tosses him off the boat.
You can't hurt me. I'm an animal.
It's true, I can't.
Ha! You have to wait a whole hour to hurt me, Greshy. It's okay. I wouldn't do it on purpose to Greshy.
Shalelu on this day would be, she'd probably be mostly downstairs. Looks like she's in the midst of like sewing something or like knitting something. She's got her little crafting kit out, and she's got some cloth and some leather. She's kind of working on something. Okay. The day passes. That puts us at Wheel Day. Neth the 13th. Oop. Alright, so this day, in the morning, Gunn, when you awaken, you feel something quite big beside you, and you feel like cramped on the little bed cot that you're on, and your eyes flicker open, and you see Rock there, grown to almost double his size. It's like 1.5 times his size. His feathers are all starting to come in slowly. There's patches of brown and white. and you can see the little antlers have grown just a wee bit bigger. And looks
Little
like
bud.
this.
Oh, he looks grumpy.
He is maybe a little bit grumpy.
This looks so grumpy.
He has his dad's eyes.
He's taking after his da, and then he's taking after his other da.
So cute.
Is that a scarf?
So in the art, he's got a little tabard, but
Oh.
Shillelagh's not done making that yet, so...
Wow.
It's adorable.
That is great.
So yeah, you've got slightly evolved. He's somewhere in between those two phases. The phase you've got, you had him in before, and this phase. So he's like growing into it, but over the next couple of days, he'll basically grow to that size, as he is maturing very quickly.
Goodness, buddy. Yeah. Wow. Look
He
at
kind
you.
of stumbles and tries to get out of the squeeze himself out of the like a bed cubby that you've both been sleeping in.
I'll have to find you a bigger place to sleep, I think. Is he large now also?
Yes, he's large now. He's now kind of
Yeah.
pecking at the wood. Kind of.
All right, let
smoking
me
his
help.
beak.
Let me help you. Hold on. So we'll like try and open the door and I'll try and push him away so I can get the door open and then be like, all right, come on.
All right,
Get out
yeah,
there.
you kind of lead him out. They don't have the token.
Oh, I may have to go. Greshy, can I borrow your collar for a second so I can get him out the door here?
Oh, sure. Hang on. What? Oh, gods. Hang on. And so I'll carry Phelan upstairs, make him big, take the collar off, and we'll go back downstairs and we'll set it up so that you can extract Rock out.
Okay, yeah, now you've got... So, you shrink Rock back to a tiny owlet size. Get him out
Yeah,
of
actually,
the
even
doorway.
much
and
smaller than he was before.
Right. And then, once he's outside, you pull the collar off, and poof, he reappears as big Rock.
It's growing up so fast.
He's looking
Sure
around. Now that he's outside, he
Magnificent.
stretches his wings, and then starts to kind of preen himself and moves over towards one of the railings and kind of steps up onto it. And you hear the sound of the railing kind of bend a little bit under his weight. But he's just kind of roosting there. And some of the two of the orcs are keeping their distance. These two you would probably know by now as the twins Barkin and Bargain. They're looking anxiously. Is that the same bird?
Yep, he's growing up quick. Told you he was just a little baby.
They're just. I think they're gonna need to make more food for him. Bargain, you go.
I
Go
think
tell
he can-
Belch to get more from the cellars.
He'd be just as likely to enjoy hunting for himself, aren't you, bud?
There's plenty of green things to eat around here.
Screeches, startling everyone around.
Oh. It's very intimidating.
Shalelu looking at him. Oh, wow, he's already gotten so big. I was not quite done with it yet, and she unfurls or she kind of reaches into her pack and pulls out a tabard, very similar to the one that Gunn has, but it's got the symbol of Erastil on it. It's pretty simple. It's just got some leather straps, and once I'm done, I figured maybe you could wear it. It'd kind of match with you, Gunn.
If I'm sure he would like that. Would you? I kind of look at him like,
It screeches as it looks back and seems to nod approvingly.
say thanks to Auntie Shalelu.
It lifts up one claw and holds it out towards her, and she cautiously takes the claw and they shake. That's a good boy.
Is Phelan huge? Did I just
He
notice
is
that?
huge for some reason.
Oh, he's not supposed to be that big.
There we go. Okay.
I think I dragged him onto the map and didn't adjust his size.
I saw that and I went, well, that's unusual, but okay.
There he is. I didn't question it. Everyone get huge.
Honestly, at some point I realized that they should have been the same size and they weren't. I was like, what's going on here? Maybe Phelan did get huge. I didn't even know it.
Secret powers.
One of these days.
Well,
One day,
this is-
Phelan, I'll make you huge.
Well, maybe. Hey, Rock. What do you think about how are your wings feeling? You feel pretty comfortable flying?
It looks at you and he kind of stretches his wings out, and then hops from the railing and flaps his wings a bit heavily and starts to kind of glide alongside the ship. He's kind of losing. He's not quite able to keep up fully.
Oh wow.
But is still.
Ship's hauling.
Yeah, ship's hauling ass. It's.
The Burly Berth is the best boat.
The Rock's able to kind of is able to go up a bit and then dive a bit to keep to gain speed, and sort of it's a little rough still.
He's working to keep up.
Yeah. Looks like he's almost practicing. He just kind of glides across to the other side.
Nice.
Borf.
Eventually he'll come down and land.
I'll run over. Good work. Oh, that's great, bud. Hey, when you're ready, do you think I could go with you? Think I could fly with you?
It
You
looks
do
at
that?
you and kind of tilts its head.
Maybe later.
Kind of ruffles up its feathers a bit.
I'll just give him scratches and then. I'm very proud of you, little guy.
Puffs up again, seemingly taking well to your compliment. And then jumps off and starts to practice flying again.
I should get a workout in too.
All right, Gunn, not one to be upstaged by his companion, starts doing push-ups against the railing.
How nice.
All right. While Gunn is working out his routine and is eventually he's jogging around the boat and doing squats and lifting barrels and stuff. I guess Asher's still working on animal form stuff, and Greshy's messing around with crafting. Shalelu's finishing up this.
Helping Greshy.
I have run out of little placards and pins to make for my wall of notes, so I'm making more very quickly. so that I can continue trying to put the pieces together.
Cat Asher just watches in interest
That's peace.
at Greshy's maps and connections.
All right.
Something missing here.
I guess in that case, another day passes. Do. We are now on. What's Thursday? Oath Day, of course. Oath Day, the 14th.
Day for swearing.
Swearing those oaths.
Some oaths.
Okay. Oath Day comes. Today, I believe you pass by.
Turtle. More turtle.
That's all
Sorry,
I
yesterday
hear.
you should have passed by Whistledown, so today, towards the end of the day, basically at nightfall is when you would arrive at Wardle.
Is that too late to get news?
I mean, we could hit a tavern.
No, the town seems it's a very small sort of trading post. There's a couple of buildings. There's a road that passes through town, probably goes east towards Sandpoint and Magnamar, north towards Nybor. So there's people around, traders, that sort of thing, that are staying the night at the various inns and pubs, or visiting the ladies of the night.
Ooh,
It makes them sound like vampires.
the ladies of the night.
Yeah.
They're very independent entrepreneurs.
Yeah. There's probably men of the night, too.
Also
Everybody of the night.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah. It's a very entrepreneurial town. Yeah, when you pull into town, one of you can, or I guess all of you if you want, can disembark for a bit. Barra says they'll wait for you to come back on, but don't stay too long. If you're gonna be staying for a long time, let me know. I might hit up one of those night houses myself.
Ooh.
Hey, you probably have time for that. No.
He just kind of laughs. Good one.
But
You're
no,
probably right.
I think we'll be very quick.
All right.
Oh.
Have fun.
That was the joke.
All right.
That's something that we can all be proud of.
Yeah, so you guys can, if you want, somebody can diplomacy to gather information.
Sure.
Greshy. No.
I want some
I will do
brothel information.
Gather.
Yeah, whoever wants to, you can, it's diplomacy checks to gather information, unless you've got
Diplomacy
some
is
other
What do we get?
Yeah.
Oh,
Up
nice.
abilities.
40.
And I think gather information by default is like a couple hours.
It's an hour, I believe, for. God.
I don't think I can beat a 40, but here we go. Hey, a 15. I'm not looking
Gather
too hard.
information, typically 2 hours, so yeah, it probably would take you about 2 hours to do. Yeah, 40 and a 15, okay.
At least Gunn's here.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything
Asher, Asher, you
My
mostly...
brothel strat.
You slip by a few brothels, just to, I guess, innocently thinking that you could like just kind of talk to some of the people who work there, but when they notice that you're not there for like anything useful, like you're not going
not
to
paying
No one
customer.
said that, Jason.
Well, I mean, maybe. Do you want to? I don't know if you don't quite have the time for it, but
No, I don't have the time.
Oh,
I don't have the time
2
for
hours.
this. I have places to be.
yeah, assuming that you're going around asking them questions about stuff that they mostly seem kind of disinterested in you. You're kind of smelly. You haven't taken a bath in at least
he
a few
took half
days.
a
Half
bath.
of it.
I took half a bath, I guess. You stood out in the rain a long time, so you just smell like mold. Yeah, they're all kind of put off by you. You're a bit awkward. they just kind of end up shooing you out of the
Oops.
couple places that you end up going to.
Oh, that's
Gunn, on the other
okay.
hand, what are you asking around about?
I would hit up the trading post and ask if there's any news out of Sandpoint and Magnamar, and if any strange happenings have been reported in the area around here.
Strange reportings. You find a couple of people who are hanging around outside of one of the trader shops that has already closed up. Yeah, after you ask around a couple of people, some people don't really know anything. Other people are just kind of shooing you off. But you do eventually find, this group of merchants, all presumably they seem to be from two different caravan-y trading groups that are longtime friends that have reunited here and are just kind of shooting the shit outside of one of the stalls. And you come up and ask them about how things have been going, if you heard any news from Sandpoint or any weird happenings in the area. And let's see. I had what can you find out? With that 40, they take to you quite well. They just kind of let you join in on their conversation. And it sounds like nothing crazy has happened of late. The oddest thing that they've noticed, which sounds incredibly suspicious to you, is that giants have been spotted in the area, as well as some ogres.
Around here?
All around this region of Varizia. As far
Wardle,
south,
Nybor.
yeah, I've heard places as far up as Galduria have been seeing them. One of my friends said they were all the way up in Ravenmoor. I can let you look at the map. Just a few of them here and there. Not sure what they're up to. Found them just kind of wandering around. I heard they even saw a few giants over near Riddleport. It's pretty odd. They don't usually come down from the north, but yeah, just been a few of my ranger hunting buddies said they spotted a camp of 2 or 3 of them all huddled up. I didn't want to get close to them.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting close to them, but they are up to no good. When was that?
That one, that was my buddy. That was about a week ago, I think. When I last talked to him, he was up near Roderick's Cove, up to the north.
Okay. Well, tell your people, tell your friends, keep safe. Steer clear of them. And
you mentioned something about Sandpoint. I heard they're telling traders to stay away, and it sounded like they were trying to do some kind of evacuation. I don't know. Sounds like something dangerous was gonna happen there. Not everybody's moved out, but a bunch of people have kind of, at least the able-bodied, have fled out to Magnamar and some of the other places around nearby. I think some went to Heartwood, and even some went all the way over to Nybor and Galduria.
probably for the best.
I heard Magnamar was sending up some troops too, but I don't know anything really about that. I was just there the other a week ago myself, or not a week ago. I guess this would have been. How long would have taken him to
5
get here?
days.
A few days. Let's just say a few days. Yeah, I rode over here from Magnamar a few days ago. They were prepping some kind of soldiers or something to send up north. I don't know what they've done with them yet. Magnor's always slow about these things, so.
None of the folks who've seen giants have reported a human with them, have they? Woman, red hair.
They all look at each other and shrug. They haven't heard anything like that.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And with that, we can haul back to the boat.
Okay. Yeah, Asher and Gunn reunite.
Buy all those gents around
Oh,
on our way out.
speaking of buying around, while they're out gathering information, Greshy is going to go and buy a bottle of rum for each Barris and Bren and Bartz and Bin and Boar and Barkin and Bargain and Boo while we're at it.
All right.
As well
Sure,
as...
you don't want to buy him a bottle of brandy?
Smart thinking there. We'll
Do you
go
have
with brandy instead.
Do you have the price already for?
I don't. I was just making...
Okay, sure.
Dude.
Yeah, I could. What's the? I guess this would be services. I guess it'd probably be what probably equivalent to maybe a silver piece each.
All right, so
If you're buying a bottle for each of them.
5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll make it an even 10, so we can split some as well if we want.
All right.
So, toss them a gold. Take all of the brandy.
You
Or
just
I
like
have a
clear
good
out a
trip.
shelf of brandy.
I'm going to take all of this and put it into the bag, and I'm going to tip him a gold on top of the gold that I'm going to pay, and we're good.
Okay. Yeah, you stop by one of the liquor stores and head back out to the ship just in time to catch Gunn and Asher.
Well, the news is good and bad. Our message was effective. Sandpoint is preparing. Magnamar is sending troops.
That's good.
But giants, there have been giants sighted all from here to Riddleport, but no sign of Lucretia.
Not ogres, giants.
Giants.
We did fight some giants.
Some
He would have said,
ogres too,
he
but
would
a
have
lot
said
of giants.
stone giants specifically.
Okay.
Some ogres, but mostly stone giants.
Well, that is about... It's kind of expected, but not great.
Gunn doesn't have any PTSD from his situation.
What do
I'll
we
try
know
not
about?
put him right up in their face again.
Oh, I'm on the contrary.
Little vengeance. Well, here, and pass on a bottle.
Oh, thank you.
And then I'll start wandering around the ship and passing out bottles to any of the crew members I see.
Maybe we should
Alright.
save that for when we disembark.
If you want to, but I figure the crew can drink if they want.
Drink aboard the ship.
Yeah, they're all more than happy to to take these bottles from you as you're passing them around. The crew's spirits are enlivened, and the Captain Barris calls for setting sail.
Get underway.
And you continue. And that will make it Fire Day? Hey, that's the
It's the after Earth Day, I think.
Alright. At the 15th, you continue down the river. This day, Shalelu has finished the I guess tabard that she had made for Rock. And yeah, it's just some straps of leather that you can run behind, like around the wings and across his back, and just kind of holds the tabard in place. She helps Gunn kind of fit it onto him. He's a little bit angsty about it at first and doesn't want it to come near him, but eventually the two of you get him to agree, and once he starts to see it more like clothing, then he...
Yeah,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'll change my armor look to match, because I can with the glamored rune.
Right. Yeah.
So you're just wearing a tabard, nothing else is what it sounds like.
No,
I
over
think
clothes. Just have a matching.
No, I
armor.
like
I
this.
like the other
I
way.
love this idea.
It's just draped nicely, covering everything.
It is.
Very
It's
sensitive.
Greshy's
your leather
Greshy's
straps
thinking
going
that.
around your shoulders, then around the waist.
You can imagine whatever you like, Greshy.
Greshy and Ash are both.
Doing a pose. We're just like, all right. Unfortunate.
yeah,
but
Disappointment
that-
is showcased.
That's enough to get Rock to be convinced to wear it. So he relents and lets you attach it to him. I made it loose enough, or the straps are loose enough that you could probably fix some kind of armor here if you wanted. But it should be light enough that it hopefully doesn't get in the way of this flight. And Rock at that and flaps wings, kind of knocking the two of you back a bit from it. And he leaps up and starts to swoop around to test out the feel, and you can see the banner, the tabard of Erastil kind of waving in the wind as if it were a banner.
Oh, thanks, Shalelu. That's fantastic. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's just a weird idea I had. Haven't gotten to craft anything in a while, so just arrows. It's kind of a fun project. All right. Well, you guys watch this for a while Asher gets back to his animal practice, etc.
Should I be a different animal today? I have so many I could be a gross bug. I don't want to turn into an insect or a rat because I'm afraid someone will try and murder me.
Turn into a frog.
I could be a frog. I could be a big frog. I could be a large
Alright.
frog. I just sit there. No. Could be a bigger cat. Yeah, I'll keep being a cat. I like being a cat. Asher's enjoying his cap. I could be a gross dog, actually. I'll be a dog. I'll be a coyote.
Okay, then.
Sure.
Could you turn into a goblin dog?
I could. Anything that's dog-like. But I don't
you
want
could
to
turn
turn
into a
into...
goblin
I could.
If you want to turn
That'd
into a
be
gross
nice.
dog,
I would
there's
turn into a
no
goblin
gross
dog
dog.
if there are goblins here. I'm very sensitive to that kind of thing. The cultural differences.
It's important to respect them.
Yeah, so you just turn into like a ratty-looking coyote instead.
Yeah. I haven't been brushed in a long time.
Sounds about right.
All right. Well, yeah, as you guys are making this trek down the river, eventually, as night has already fallen and it's getting close to bedtime, Captain Barris would speak up. Well, I think we should be landing at the appropriate spot at probably early in the morning, so you guys should get your rest if you're planning to disembark then.
Sounds good.
Sleepy time.
Where's
Yeah, this
Rock
was a-
gonna sleep? Is there a stable people fit in?
Maybe there's a crow's nest? Well, he's an eagle, but not the point.
I mean, there's a room on deck. There's this like spare lifeboat in the center of the ship that he could sleep in.
All right, if they're willing.
Yeah, who needs a lifeboat?
That That's true. I agree.
This ship's never had a problem in my lifetime. You know what they say? No problems after 5 years. No problems ever.
Wish that's how it was.
Did you wait? Did he say his lifetime was 5 years?
Well, I've only had the boat for 5 years.
That's not what you said, sir. You said no problems in my lifetime.
Yeah,
That's an awful lot of questions for someone who should go to bed early.
Bedtime.
No problems with the boat. Anyway, thanks, Mr. Greshy, for that fine rum you got us last night.
Oh, sure. It was it seems appropriate for everyone to have a nice good drink, and you got us here. That's a lot.
Ah, no problem. It's nice to get paid after all the troubles that have been happening lately.
You mean the troubles up at Turtleback Ferry, or was something else going on?
Yeah, mostly that. There's also been just general problems with pirates. This is mostly a riverboat, but sometimes I used to do work in Magnamar on some ships. You don't want to hear about it. You should get to bed.
Actually,
I was.
Why are you glaring at me?
I kind of do want to hear about this, but
yeah,
Everyone
I'm
wants to hear.
somewhat interested in that too.
It's an incredibly long story.
very boring.
Incredibly boring. It's just got pirates and weird flying monkeys. There's weird black goopy stuff. That's yeah. You really don't want
I
me to
think
go
you
into
just
it.
hit all
It has
three
something
of
for
us. I think
everyone.
you just- yeah.
I'm not sure boring means what you think it means. I know it starts with a B, but
What did the goopy stuff smell like?
Yeah, it's kind of acrid, I guess. I don't know. It's
It's a
weird.
good word.
I don't want to go back to that life. But yeah, with all the rains up in Turtleback, it's been in the flood, and a lot of the products we ship usually come from Turtleback, you see. It's been a problem the last couple of months with all those traders going missing to the ogres and stuff like that. But it sounds like that's been, as far as that Shillelagh lady said, it sounds like that's all been taken care of. So if
I only
anything,
hope
you've-
so.
Well, keep watch. There's been some sightings in this area. It might get worse before it gets better.
well, that's a landlubber's problem.
I agree.
Yeah, you stick
Stay
to
on
the
the
river, you
water.
should be fine.
Yeah, I don't.
Pretty sure
hopefully
stone
there's
giants
no-
sink anyway, so
That's what you'd think, right? They seem pretty heavy.
Yeah.
He's just kind of thinking to
sounds
himself.
true. Not gonna worry about it. Sounds like.
Wouldn't that be scary? A giant stone ship filled with stone giants.
It would certainly sink. There's no way that would float.
I don't know.
Yeah, you couldn't possibly make a boat out of concrete. That would be.
Sounds
Uh,
absurd.
Maybe they got
It's
some of those
concrete.
ancient stone giant magics. I don't know.
That's true.
Oh,
This is a weird
God.
Stone giant
world we
magics
live
are
in.
dangerous.
You never know when somebody's got some kind of weird rune that lets you float a stone slab through the water with 500 stone giants, all with their stone throwing cannons attached.
They certainly wouldn't fit on the river.
Out of curiosity, Gunn, did you have them guarding against the ocean while you were at it, or just against land? Or were you
I don't
specific?
That's very specific. 500 stone giants coming from the river.
Did I have who guarding?
Oh, Sandpoint.
Sandpoint, we just told them they're probably coming for the ruins.
Okay.
Protect the city.
So we didn't really specify. So I hope
No.
that they were guarding against the ocean just in case.
Well, the ocean is like half the.
We did say ogres and giants, probably, so.
Well, and everybody knows that giants can't swim, but
Mm.
not if they're
no.
riding on boats that float with cannons.
We're gonna have nightmares. This is not gonna be. I need some more of that rum, Greshy.
Well, it's actually brandy, but
Oh, that's fine.
I think we've got another bottle someplace. Anyway.
Drink our fears of stone ships away.
Well, even if you got to deal with stone giant armadas, at least you don't have to deal with, like, I don't know, dragons. That seems even worse.
That would be worse.
Yeah.
Imagine a whole sky full of dragons breathing fire down from above, burning
Or
it in
other
the
things.
countryside.
Actually, like, slowly. It's like, oh, and just like, I'm gonna go below deck.
I couldn't imagine them burning all the peasants. That'd be terrible.
Yeah,
Mm,
and those Thatcher's commoders.
I can imagine. I'm gonna go to sleep and not
Asher
think
just
about dragons.
slips away.
Goodbye.
That's probably a good note to.
Greshy goes to his like
I sure
board
hope
and adds a note
Shalalu
about
did
it.
not hear this.
conversation.
Dragons and giants on boats, and pins it, and then he goes to bed.
All right.
Asher lays awake staring at the ceiling.
Asher takes a point of exhaustion.
Oh no! Help! I'm in a bed this time.
Nah, you can sleep fine.
I finally
Um,
sleep.
All right, the day changes. It's Star Day, Neth the 16th, and early in the morning, the ship makes dock against the riverside. It lays anchor, I suppose, and they pull out the ramp, and it kind of just barely reaches the shore. You're able to all disembark with your horses in tow, who have been nicely fed. The gruel that they've been serving up has been fine. It's been adequate. Not amazing, but maybe you grew to like it a little bit. You got used to it over the course of the journey. You bid your farewell to the burly Bertha and Captain Barris and all his crew. Bryn, Bartz, Bark, Bagel, Ben, Boar, Belch, Biff, Barkin, and Bargain all wave goodbye as Boo
Bye,
caws.
Bye bye, boys.
And that, I think, is where we're gonna end the session. Beautiful.
Brilliant.
So angry right now.
All right.
Thank goodness for breaking the bees up.
Yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Third Action. This is episode 64. We're finally in book 4. The journey continues on land as you return to Sandpoint. What dangers await? You can find us and find out next week. Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/thirdaction, or you can find us on the podcast feed or on YouTube at youtube.com/thirdaction, Twitter Third Action Show, or anything you want. Oh yeah, we have also got a Discord now. I keep forgetting to mention it. If you want to join the Discord, the link is in the description on YouTube. I believe it's on our Twitter as well. It's also in the podcast description, so feel free to join, come hang out, talk with us. We're quiet, but you can come say hi, chat with us about stupid shit. I don't know.
We could be loud.
Yeah, we could be loud. You could help us be loud.
Nobody asks us to be loud.
But in any case, oh yeah, post pictures of doors. We have a door chat with all your beautiful doors, Paizo brand or otherwise. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this evening. So thank you, everybody, and good night.